Here we go, back again. So, welcome to the podcast. I want to just say to everybody that's listening in live now or listening later after we've gone live, there is an option to click a link on Spotify, on all of the podcast channels actually. For your listening pleasure, I like to listen to it in the gym or in the car on the way to work, something like that. So there isn't an audio only link if you want to just play that on in the background in your car or whatever, or you want to enjoy the video as I've put this effort together to switch between us. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about freelancing in the media industry, specifically in the UAE. I got my guest with me, Vosloo. How you doing, man?
What's going on?
What's going on? We're going to be talking about media freelancing. How about that?
Yeah, in the UAE.
In the UAE. I'm sure there's quite a few things we can talk about and a few things we should miss out.
Yeah.
So yeah, prepare yourselves. Anyone that's in the media industry or freelancing here in the UAE, this might be particularly interesting for you. We've got some stories to share for our own personal experiences, what we're both currently up to. Also, I want to know what you're actually up to at the moment. I believe you're mostly a drone pilot these days?
I still am. I just, when I opened my business up, which was last year, just to kind of step it up a little bit on the level of what I do, obviously full solo with the business I have. I've had my hands in everything really, from video, photo, editing, obviously flying drones, which was awesome. Then, the market tapped into FPV, went and dived a little bit into that. But then with the opening of the business, I had so much more on my hands that I had to kind of narrow it down a little bit. I couldn't have my hands in everything, at least for the first year, to kind of figure out, get myself in place and be organized. So I had to kind of like drop it to the side a bit, because here you have to have a lot of, you have your licensing, and then there's steps for permits on shoots, which is pretty big. And so I couldn't have that pressure and that workload in the first stage of me trying to get this business going 100%. So I let it go. However, I'd like to say that would happen more so next year, because I think I got my ducks in a row now. But yeah, predominantly as of now, for the last year and a half, it's just been really focusing on the video side of things, editing, and photos, in and out as you go. I don't want to stop doing that. Obviously, I'll keep it going. But that's more or less where it's at right now, I think. Yeah.
You started out as a cameraman, is that right?
Did I start as a cameraman?
Or photographer? And how long ago?
I started. What happened? Okay, I'll tell you the story. What worked for me was I enjoyed obviously playing around with cameras on my main job that I had, which was like business development for power sport products. Nothing to do with the video side of things or photo side of things. However, I was always interested in taking a couple snaps, the cool photos of yourself, or expressing what you're doing out in your day. And then the social media kind of helps kind of let your friends back home kind of see what you're going, especially your friends and family. That was that whole expressive moment. I think we all kind of went through it. And then, GoPros, all this stuff was fun. But then I started diving into, when I saw drones coming out, I was like, ooh, this looks fun. Why? Because I've always been into remote control cars. I still am a big fan of it. The electric, the petrol, the nitro, all of those things. I'm big into it. So remote control. And then I realized, you can fly and record. Now that's mixing two things that I enjoy the most. Oh, this is going to be good. And then I started seeing some people that were using them, and they were always doing these like wide shots, easy stuff. Okay, that's what drones are doing now. But what happens if I could fly a drone? I'd get try and get tight and deep into, try and be unique with your shots. So I did a bit of research, and I think it was like 2015, beginning of 2015. I knew what I wanted, and I went to Cape Town for a quick visit, quick break. Then I was hopping into the hobby shops that I used to like going to, because I have a remote control car back home with nitro, so I get the nitro, just to pass the home time, passion of what I do in the car that I have there. And then I bumped into people at the shop where they were talking about, you should see this drone. And then it was like the first Inspire that came out, and like, this is going to solve everything that you need. So I was like, okay, now I got to up my game up on this number of what this is. So over time I said, cool, I'll get this. I got that, which was a big purchase, trying to figure out what are you gonna do with this. And I just told myself, when I get this, because that was a big purchase at the time, if anything, the most expensive thing I was gonna throw myself into, I need to make sure that I try and cover that cost or fix that cost in the next 2 months or so, or double it, or whatever it may be, just to make it back, and then figure out where it goes from there. And that's kind of how that opened up. You put your flying time in, you get creative, you figure out cool things. And we're saying that in a time where rules weren't really there. So it was actually the gold mine of trying to get dialed in.
The golden years.
With nothing being, hey, what you doing,
Yeah.
You can't do that. Where's your card? Where's your permit? Where's your license? But fair enough, new things, whatever. And then that progressed into knowing people, word of mouth, seeing an industry open and boom. Then I got into it more. I wish I was a bit more switched on then, because I would probably have fully done drone till this day. But then I was interested in other stuff, which was video and video editing and maybe storytelling and these kind of cool things, and Instagram was going up. So I did all that, and I was just having my hands on everything, which I don't think is too much of a problem. Some people can say you should stay with one and kind of figure it out and, specialize in that so you can know your craft really well. Fair enough. But I just felt like I was in an experiment moment where I could just kind of figure out, well, I like doing a bit of photo. Video is cool, but editing can be quite interesting, and then we could add a bit of drone. So again, mixing it up and then progressing and developing the craft that is what you do over the years, and kind of see what you more likely want to do and where does that industry kind of steer you. And it will steer you in all those places, depending on how far you want to go with it and what is it you want to do, because there's so many doors within that afterwards. That's what I've learned, and you can really go down that rabbit hole, if you will, and you can get lost in it. So I started doing all kinds of odd jobs, really, and then I enjoyed the ground filming stuff, like holding a camera, and the gimbal stuff. This was all really fun things. Again, just enjoying everything, and then it's just slowly progressed into now. I just really like, I love recording some really good stuff, whether it's for clients or things that are fun or handheld. I really enjoy it. The gimbal stuff, I love it. If I want to do far more of it, which it's a bit difficult now, because when you up your gear and you're just trying to have fun, it's a little bit restrictive. You always need to go to the desert or something to kind of use it, but then there's only so much you can do. But you find your ways around things, right? You figure it out, as you always do here. I think that's kind of one of the coolest things here. You just have to figure it out. You go around things, and it might be, from the outside world, it might be like, that's a lot to do. Yeah, it is a lot to do, but
it's nice to have your hands in a little bit of most of it when it comes to video production, because you adjust yourself to clients' needs. Because as a whole, the industry is like, it's film, it's video, and thanks to the internet, it's made everything very sort of mixed bag.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much, like I said, there's so many doors to where you want to go with all of this stuff. People can be like the wedding photographer, wedding videographer, beauty. There's so many industries for what it is that is required for digital, So again, it's I guess it's your niche that you want to find, what you like the most. I still, I don't really know if I think I'm going somewhere where I know what I really want to do. And then I think that's, again, I'm going to be writing this down in the next couple of days to iron out for 2023.
Please tell me it's going to be drones.
Well, I definitely can't walk away from that. That's for sure. I mean, I was just doing a gear check this afternoon for a shoot tomorrow, and I pulled out the box of the drones. Not that I'm using drone, but I was just doing it because there was 1 or 2 batteries in there, and I thought, just keep those other batteries, check the voltage, everything's all good. And for sure we'll get back into it. I mean, I love doing it, and there has been requests that have come in every now and then, especially recently, and it's so hard to let it go and potentially trying to still help a client out, even though you know them really well, and not like drop them and let them, dude, I can't help you. You have to pass them on, like, well, I hate to say it, but you can phone these guys. I don't want to give you those guys, but be prepared. You're going to pay a lot of money for them, but that's what it is, and they've got it on their hands. They can make things, they can move mountains. They don't want to give it away, but it's a question mark, and for me, it is a very big question mark, because I think drone, you really need to put all your effort into just that. To try and put your other stuff on the side, whether it's you doing a couple of shoots on photo, a couple of scenes where you're either helping out to film on a project, getting hired for a project, or you're coming up with your own concept for the clients and your storyboards, all that stuff. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work for one person. And for drone, you definitely need to be on it to kind of keep in the loop and ears down of who's doing what projects are coming in, or can I get into that? And then I think after that, it will kind of have a snowball effect of, well, they know who you are and so on and so forth, and it can work for sure.
Would you say you're in, on the topic of drones, would you say you're in the loop now, like with authorities, permits that are needed, licenses within this region? Are you in the loop with all that information?
I think my knowledge is still around maybe 85% of knowing what's going on based on the requests that were asked in the last 3 weeks.
Well, 85% is pretty good for UAE. That's almost like 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to keep. I say that because we know that things can change.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 85% here is 100%.
That location there, it's a little bit more now.
Yeah.
The permit's more that place. Yeah, no, we don't charge anymore. It costs us much. It's,
Yeah.
Crazy.
What's the deal with drones at the moment? Do you know that? Like in regards, because during the expo last year, there was these situations that happened with attacks and whatnot, and then all drones were grounded.
Yeah.
Is that still the case now? Or?
No, you can fly around provided you have your hobby license, doing the hobby things. And then if you're doing work stuff, contracted goodies, you're doing all the permits, everything. They know what you're doing. They know the location, the day, the time. There's a local guy with you on the day from Civil Defense, so he's seeing everything. Plus, you got a tracker on the drone that the airport is seeing too.
Is that for commercial stuff though, or does that apply to hobby?
That's commercial only.
Commercial only. What hobbyists?
Hobbyists, you can be out. There's like an app, and I forgot the name of it. I think there's like Dubai drone, a UAE drone, and it'll give you the areas of where you can and cannot fly. Not everywhere. Yeah. There's not many places you can really fly.
Mostly desert. Then.
It's just desert, man. And then if you're out in the ocean, that you're out in the ocean. There's only so much. So it's like, I just, with all these permits, I get it. There's a reason for it, or the implications that are put there to control it, keep the loose wires out, because those are the ones that have put a lot of the rules in place, just kind of slipping up. And don't take a chance, put it that way. They will know.
Yeah,
it's a frequency. You want to flip it up quickly in the sky and in the city, whatever, man, the signal can be picked. They'll know what's up. Give it 20 minutes. You still there, they'll come, they'll find you.
And there you go.
Yeah, they'll find you. They'll know this.
They're pretty on point with that sort of stuff.
They know the signal. So if you've launched from that, wherever it is, and you're still there in the next 25 minutes or so, and that thing is on, they'll come to you. They'll at least come to the last location of where it was at. They know that. And I don't mean that in a scary way. I just telling you they're
cautious. Yeah,
they're on their stuff, and just follow the rules of what it is, because it's just going to get you out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Punishments are quite big here on Asia.
Yeah, even if you're not looking for trouble, but you did that, and you should have got just make sure it's registered and so on, because that's at least it's something that's documented that gets you out of a situation where you're not registered. Trust me, you want to go that route. So I guess for the hobbyists now, or people want to get into drone that are here, I don't really know what I can tell you, and why. I don't know. Maybe you want to fly for fun, go for it. But if you want to get creative, you're a bit limited here, man.
FPV is still. I mean, we used to fly because I was the same as you.
Yeah.
I dabbled into FPV a little bit just to learn how to do it.
Yes.
So I can at least do something cinematic or flippy flops or whatever.
Yeah.
Now I can say I can do it. Mm-hmm. We used to fly down at Safa Park. There were certain connections that allowed us to do it there.
Yeah.
Then that got stopped.
Yes.
And I think FPV now is just complete no.
Yeah. So on that subject, I wanted to try FPV too. I thought it was interesting. It was something that. Why I got interested in it was the idea that you could build it, and then the immersive experience of goggles on, seeing what this thing sees, and you have full control of where you're going. Like, that's cool, and how fast it can go, and then the flip and the rolls. That I just wanted. I mean, at the end of the day, it's for me to just be in a forest somewhere and sit, or in a mountain valley, and just let this thing rip through the forest. It's as if you're flying.
Yeah.
And then I was imagining, like, while it's ripping through the forest, trees, then you suddenly just pop out on top of them and you see everything, and you go through the valleys and you bring it, like as if you were dreaming of yourself flying. That was the closest thing for me that I wanted to experience. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing was okay, the filming idea of it, that perspective, to incorporate that in ideas for videos. Sure, it could work. Let's see where it goes. So I got into it, and then, with all the research, I realized, okay, there's a lot of money that you need to spend now on stuff that's not easily accessible here. We have to bring it over. So when you break things, you got to order it again, or at least plan to know what you need to maybe order in case something goes wrong, so that you set with your parts. Stock up.
There's a couple of people here, I think, that just tried to create a website for stocking parts.
Yeah, there was. I got into this community and a bunch of cool guys. It was a great place. The only thing for me was, the reason why I stepped out of it was a few things. First of all, just didn't really, in terms of the community, I didn't have much time as what they did on the weekends, or I think Saturdays and Sundays, and chill at the park and go rip. As much as I would like to have done that, I just want to do other stuff as well. I couldn't commit to it every weekend. Then the process of making sure that you have batteries charged.
Well, that's a thing in itself, isn't it? Managing and maintaining the life of a LiPo battery that can be dangerous.
Yeah, man. So for you guys out there, for the FPV stuff, you need, these things run on batteries, and you think, okay, I charge them and they're good to go. Okay, cool. Yes, fine. You need a few of them because your lifetime on one is like, 3-4 minutes if you're lucky. And if you drop them, or if they crash those batteries, don't think you can maybe use it again. Maybe you shouldn't use it again. And then you got to figure out how, when you charge them, it's not like you just plug it in and charge. You got to dial it in per amp and all these things in the cells. And you really want to be on top of it, because it makes your flying experience and your trust in the FPV know that it's going to actually operate or not.
If you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing.
If you're still getting in it to learn. Man, I felt like a scientist. Honestly, I felt like a professor in a university when I was learning this stuff. Just the batteries alone.
Let
alone making the FPVs. Or, buying them as ready to fly or whatever. You still need to know how to repair stuff.
Yes, and with that being said, you need a few batteries, and you're going to have a couple crashes, and all of that, plus being
just a couple.
Yeah, dude, you check the voltage on some of them, like, really, that one cell's not really, oh man, another one gone. Just paid for that thing.
And it's a big commitment, isn't it, FPV?
Sure. And then we're in a country where it's not cold, it's hot, so that was stressing me out as well about these LiPos. And then maybe them dropping, or flying one of them, and we're quite hot right now. This was freaking me out. I couldn't handle it. And then knowing that these batteries are in my house and putting them in safe bags, I was like, no, whoa, this is way too much for me now. Like, I'm out of this. I was out of it for that was one of the reasons. And then the other reason was I was just having issues sometimes not trusting the builds that I had. Even though I had some friends help and check it over, I think it was the DJI stuff that I was using, breaking frequency or breaking signal, and then the battery was cutting out while you were in mid-flight. I just couldn't trust it. I wanted to incorporate it in maybe some videos, but again, this is like if you really want to be fully into this is a full commitment on this one type of craft alone. If you've got other stuff going on where there's video editing, big drones, all that stuff, and you want to throw this in, you just better to hire someone to do it. It's simple as. And I was just trying to enjoy, really honestly, just flying it for fun. And I could say I'd still want to do it, but with everything that I had to keep, all the parts, all those pieces you need extra, then go charge everything, then find a day to go do it. It's a lot of energy. I was trying to I have a little park next to me, and sure, I was wanting to fly there, but the thing makes a noise, and I don't want to. And I hear people are attracted to all kinds of stuff that's not the normal. So you flip that thing around, you're getting an audience, and without even having audience, just knowing that there's someone around, I don't want to fly this thing. Not that I'm going to crash into them, but if something were to go wrong, and it intercepts a person that's walking past or whatever may happen, damn, in this country, I would want to know what's going to happen
on the next flight out.
Yeah, so that was just too much heat for me. I just thought, nope, not happening, forget it, I'm not going to do it. And then I was promoting that I was doing it for some work, and I just tell clients, sorry guys, I'm out, I'm not doing it anymore. I do have some people that we could hire if we do need this. However, I also felt that, and this is leading on to a bigger thing now, but when you're working with clients and they say, oh, we want this the drone that does all this kind of stuff, it looks cool. I'm like, so I asked the question, I'm like, you want it because you like FPV, or you want it because you're seeing it on videos? No, we're seeing it on videos, so you're following like more or less a trend. Yes, okay, so you want this because of a trend. Okay, cool. Well, let's look at it this way. First of all, we can do it if we want, or we try and find our own creative way of making our video pop out versus not trying to follow others, and see if that maybe leads to something as a trend. Because drone is still used, not as much as what it was. FPV, I guess, is used, but not as much as from what I'm seeing. Again, it's a trend. I think
just commercially, the studios and production houses are trying to apply that visual, that creative image that FPV provides.
Yeah, sure. And
especially with automobiles, which is what I see you're into a lot more.
Yeah, I am in the automotive industry a bit now. I guess I'm just trying to keep things interesting for myself. But there's a lot of other things now that are coming into play that doesn't involve really cars, but storytelling. Storytelling I like it. I love hearing something that's cool, or something that came across my way, or I see something like, wow, that's a great story. To put that into video and to make that look great for what it is, it's really rewarding for myself. I enjoy that, and I want to get far more into it.
You should get a YouTube channel, bro.
Oof.
Start vlogging.
No, I don't want to do vlogging. I couldn't want to. I wouldn't. I don't mind maybe trying to be in front of a camera and say a thing or two, but the idea of trying to do it continuously, it would be too much for me. I would not be motivated for it. I'd be like, oh, here's another day, or I've got to do this, and I'd be thinking too much about it. I enjoy being in a community. Let's say we're with a bunch of guys, or a motorbike club, and we're doing a ride, and there's always this conversation that when we're having a coffee or the breakfast, or that we're refueling, everyone's asking questions, and I can say I'm insightful for a bunch of things, and they really enjoy that. And I always get messages coming back to me through the group or the president of the club saying, look, I'm going to pass your number, they want to ask questions. I love this. And I thought about videos would be great maybe, but to a point, how many of these videos do I need to churn out? Because I wouldn't want to be this person that's doing it repetitively.
I wouldn't get hung up on that. And the reason why I kind of sort of said you should get in a vlogging, there are different types of vlogging. There's obviously daily vlogging, which is the older format. But now people are doing it just either answering questions. Yeah. If you're seen as a person that's in, helping people out with advice, these kind of things, you can apply that answer in a video, for example. But you don't have to do it too much. So moto vlogging.
Yes.
I see you doing a lot of track days on super bikes.
Yes.
That would be awesome for you to, do some POV style.
Yeah. So I attempted this. One time, and I never got around to wanting to try edit it. I think I looked at a couple clips. I think even that last maybe 20 minutes of being there at the track, there was just something that just knocked it off for me that I didn't want to continue. I don't know if I answer. I don't know why is the thing to say, but I just wasn't feeling it. And I hate it when I'm not in a good energy moment to try and you start off and it's great, but I think also because holding a camera or having someone hold a camera, me wanting to know what that camera is seeing while I'm talking, I think it's the worst concoction to have, because I need to know what it looks like. Is this answering right? Is he holding right? It's too much for me, and I just thought, I don't know if I could do this because
that's
I need
the DOP in you.
Yeah, man. I need to see what's going on, and this is a struggle. So I might have a answer to what it is that you've mentioned there about the motorbike thing and keeping people in perspective. I'm not going to say too much now, but there is an idea that has been thought of for a couple of months now, and then we had a taste of it recently with a brand that was at the Autodrome for their track there, and we've had discussions, and a point was proven And I just need to write it out now and just explain it as a presentation. You don't want to miss this opportunity. You want to get on this train because no one else is going to do it. No one else is doing it. You want to get on this train right now and start it, because you're going to be far ahead of it once you do get it off the floor.
Start what?
Can't say it yet.
Give us a little teaser, come on.
No, because if I do that, it's going to...
A hint, something.
Or like, I don't know, I'm just trying to debate, because the thing is, from the client side, they're still trying to figure out if they want to do it or not. And I don't want to say anything now for them to maybe
fair
think.
Enough. Protecting client data.
Sure,
that's fair.
but with this conversation, we'll come back though. And I really believe it will work. I have all the data to explain. There's no risk in even trying, because the bottom line is, by starting this, you're going to be far ahead of any other brand, if you want, that is going to...
So we're talking from client perspective and their brand image and ideas, not from a filmmaker's perspective.
Yeah, so motorbike brand, being in the loop on social, keeping people up to date. I think that's as best of a tease I can give you.
When can we see something that you're talking about?
Because
I'm getting interested now, and I know other people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Where can I see this?
Yeah, so I think there's nothing to show now other than... I don't want to lead it on anymore. But
you're pretty active on your Instagram, right?
Not really. I don't... I'll tell you...
Go on, man. You post
maybe
really nice images. Your stories are pretty up to date.
Fair enough. Okay, so you're saying actives. Now, I'm comparing a friend that was here with me recently, and he's quite known on social, and his work is great, and he was living in Dubai, and he's back in Greece, and he was here recently for Dubai, and he wanted to stay with me, and there was like a Porsche event and a vintage Autodrome car show, whatever.
Is he a content creator as well?
Yeah.
What's his Instagram?
Steve Kittner. Steve Kittner. Sorry.
What's your one?
Sorry, Steve, if I say your name wrong.
Ladies and gents out there.
It's Vosloo. Vosloo. VOSL and 4 O's, because they took my name already. Vosloo. That's
how
the
many
best.
O's?
4.
4 O's. Vosloo. VOSL triple O.
Quadruple O.
Quadruple O. 4.
Yeah.
Right, there
Had
you go.
to stick it there.
Check Vosloo's Instagram account. It's got some really nice content on there. You get an idea for the content he creates, photos as well, especially with motorbikes, because you own your own bikes as well, right? You got a few?
Yeah, so the name was Steve Kittner. He was with me recently. His work is fire, and honestly, I was watching him, and we've had this discussion. He's on his Instagram a lot, like he's on his phone a lot, like dialed in, like fully dialed in. He was, he stayed with me. I think I could break it down into 3 or 4 ways of seeing Steve, right? At any moment, he's either on his phone, or he's talking to someone at an event, or he's editing on his phone, or he's double checking, there's the 4th one, on social, who else is doing what in the current time right now, or who has just posted whatever. He's so dialed in, knowing what's going on, and good for him. However, I said to myself 3 years ago, 2020 if you want to call it, I said, in this time, I'm going to try and be less on being active on social, or at least be engaged in it, than I was currently, solely because I don't want to be stuck into this system, right? I don't want to be looped into it. I want to have a social life, and most importantly, because I watch a lot of friends that are using this as a career, that they're fully engaged in it, and they're our age. And for me, I look at it as like, what is your next thing you're going to do? Are you going to keep doing that for the rest of your life? What's your next step? What's your next one you're going to
have they even thought about?
Yeah, are you going to diversify? What is it? Because what I see with everyone right now is they're still doing that, and they're so strapped into that, where their social life is, I wouldn't say original, like it's not original. It's just there's a stigma there to it. I can't relate to it. I can't have a decent conversation, because I know that they're on it all the time. So that being said, I pulled away from it, and I just thought, let me just see how I can get work without really showing people online that I do stuff, or show clients. And then that was kind of where it's at. And I really thought...
That's the paradigm though, isn't it? Is you've got to keep content at least somewhat up to date to show that you're still in the business.
Yeah, that you've got this profile, this resume, if you will. And I treated it that way. I said, fine. So somewhat I want to try and keep the Instagram looking, as good as I'd like to see it. That I got to present it as this resume. But also my main goal was the conversation with the clients or the community, to have that one-on-one conversation, that discussion, those ideas that pop up. Those moments right there are real. And, sure, you can message on Instagram, oh, I've seen your work, I want to do this, and then you can have a coffee, great. But I think the conversation one-to-one or in that community is really something that vibes. People get it, they like it, yeah, that's cool. Or we can brainstorm ideas, this is rad, let's do that. That I wanted to do, and I had that conversation. So it managed, and you're getting your jobs through that. So pushing yourself away from social and trying to keep up to date and follow things and follow the loop, man, it can put you in a hole. It can make you dive so deep. You're seeing stuff, but you actually don't want to be seeing. That's going to put you in a negative. You need it when you notice that stuff. You need to jump away from it. You have to pull away. And when you do pull away from that, I don't think it's wrong with, like, if you have friends that you're following and you don't want to see what they're seeing, or it's just too much that maybe they're posting, and it's you know them as a friend. It's not really that you need to see what they're doing. So go and spend time with them socially, one-on-one, and enjoy those moments, because that is where you're connecting, that is where you're updating yourself, and I think that's more valuable. So people that are removing people, don't get upset. Just pick up the phone and make a phone call. Don't SMS, WhatsApp or anything. Phone call, catch up with them, go spend the day at a beach, in the desert, whatever. Have a social, have that one-to-one. I think that's the most valuablest thing you can have versus what today's world is. And again,
it's hard to differentiate the two, right? Between socializing on social media platforms with friends, or using it as a tool to promote yourself in business.
Yeah.
And there's a fine balance, I think, between the two.
Big.
When do you stop promoting yourself as a business?
Yeah.
Or am I just now binging and socializing and trying to keep my account looking pretty enough to represent you as a professional? Yes,
and also, I see a lot of people that you can easily go on Instagram and follow that rabbit hole, and you bump into other creatives, and a lot of them they're firing away some big stuff once a day or every week or whatever, like some quality goods. I always ask myself, how are you doing that here? Because, you got to keep yourself kind of afloat. You got to have more of an open space of doing your own thing that doesn't revolve around being in the camera or the phone. Like, you peace out. And the work that I'm seeing that is being pushed, that's a lot. You're definitely committing yourself, saying, okay, I'm going to rock this for a couple of months, bang out as hard as I can. Okay, if that's what you've done, fine, that's your task. But on a daily, if you're doing this and you don't have that, man, I don't know where your social life is, because I think this is most important. To be sucked into the phone like that, wow, I don't choose to want to do that. So for my social now, I've kind of got back into it a little bit, playing around with some stuff. I think my issue is I always like to have the perfect world of whatever it is that I would like to capture, which is not always the moment what will happen here. Like, I think it was Saturday morning. I was on a job early morning for sunrise, and I'm seeing the clouds passing through the city, and the city's absolutely clean. And I'm just thinking, all I need right now is a car and a driver. I got myself a setup in that car with that window down, and we just roll through the city on a car on a nice long lens, and we just capture the city in its glory now, with clouds in the background, and we just get all of that as a clean slate. Like, I want to do that. I can't do that because I got this job and I need to get home. You drop that off, and I need to find a driver. Do I get a taxi guy? Do I pay money for the taxi guy to just drive me around and go do this? Like, there's a lot going on. Especially when you're,
the sufferings of a creative.
Well, again, that's the question. When I see some other people that work, I'm like, how are they doing it? Are they getting paid? Because, time is money. I'm not going to lie, that time is money. And if you're doing a lot of that, I hope you're getting paid, or if you're getting paid a little bit and it's kind of working for you, that's great. But how long are you going to rock that for?
Having said that, I want to bring this particular topic up now. And before we dive into that one, coming back to the drones. Now, I think you would be a bit more in the loop than myself, and there are a lot of questions I get asked and have experience coming into customs. So it's pretty much coming into the country with a drone on you. Obviously, of course, if you've got a license and you have a commercial license, even a hobbyist license, if they pull you up at customs, like they have done me recently coming back in from the summertime, they can take it away from you because they don't want drones coming in. Is that right?
Yeah. So, wait, you're registered,
Yeah.
and what they stopped you because they saw it and they checked your papers, but then they still wanted to keep it.
No, let me tell you. So basically, for the summertime, I went traveling through Europe, and I took my FPV drones. And you know, with FPV drones, then you got the controller, you've got the goggles, you've got your batteries.
A lot of stuff.
I took, God knows how many amps of batteries, but I think I took 8 lipos. Each one was like 1,500
You're
milliamps.
definitely going to get flagged on that.
They were flagged for sure, and they swabbed them down for like explosives and stuff. So they were crazy. They always gave it back to me. Even traveling Europe, they were pretty sound. They ended up giving it back. But the problem lied when I came back to the UAE. You know, when they go through the scanners, they see that cross-shaped thing. They're like, all right, that's a drone for sure. And I try to mix them up in my bag a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't have my hobbyist license on me. I didn't have a copy of it on my phone. I'm like, oh my God. I had my DJI one as well, but it fold up. So that's not as easy detectable.
Yeah.
I think I had another one on me as well. I think in total I had like 5 drones.
So that was the biggest way of you being flagged, is because you have a lot of stuff with you.
I had a lot of stuff, but I mixed it up between mine and my partner's luggage just so it didn't, less of a chance of flagging. But it still did. They pulled me to the side. Long story short, they asked me, you know, this is not allowed. That was the first thing. It's like, what do you mean it's not allowed? It is allowed if we have the right things, right? So. And they said, do you have a license? I was like, I do, but I don't have a copy on it now. I got my license done at such and such academy.
Senad,
That's the one, down the Al-Ain Road. And they were fine with it. They let me come through.
Cool.
But what are the details now? What are the facts? What do you need to have? Are drones allowed into the country? And if they are, what permits do you need? And if you do, or can you get in as a hobbyist or a tourist without any permit?
So if you're not a resident here and you're coming in as a tourist and you bring one of those with you, with this DJI, whatever, a drone in general, and you're coming into the airport with nothing because you're from outside, you'll get stopped. They'll stop you because they don't have a trace on you to, verify something that goes wrong with whatever goes down in their country. How they're going to track you down, There's a process that you can apply for a hobbyist in Dubai as you arrive. I'm not sure on how long it takes right now, because in the past, from what I understood, you'd have to do that prior to arriving in Dubai, for the sake of the inconvenience of a delay. And there could be a good delay here, So for that, I'm not sure on the timing, but on the online you can do it, but it's going to take time, and I'm not sure what the fee is involved and the timing on that. I need to check it.
But it is possible.
It's possible, right, for sure. And for the residents, if you've purchased one, the first thing to do is go get it registered, because honestly speaking, if you purchased it to try and fly around here, man, like I said, the signal gets created. They can see it. They'll spend if there's people in the area, they'll find it. They'll want to investigate what it is, what's going on.
Especially if it's not in their system as like a scheduled flight.
Sure. And then also the parameters of where you can fly as a hobbyist or not. It could be in an area where it's like, well, hold on, that's not really a hobbyist. What's it doing? Okay, let's investigate. And when I say investigate, I'm like, I don't think it's for them to be like strong about, we need to find this guy and this crook. They're just open-minded. Let's see what's going on, because they know the signal. You need to have your stuff registered, because if they do come, you can at least show them something, and you can either be let off with a warning, or take your details and cool, you find your registered. But if you're not registered, there's a big problem there. Depending on who's arrived, depending on the situation, they'll take you in, they'll take your details, and then who knows where that goes later. Either you're out later, small fine here, or on the airport. Those things can happen.
That's
for
fair
sure.
enough.
But I do think, I believe in it, and I can say I've been through there before, and I've known some others. You can, if they do arrive at the time, then you're not registered, they're very open-minded, right? I mean, just be honest, have the conversation, and I'm pretty sure that there could be some slack there. They will get your details, that's for sure. They want your details so that they have you on record. But you could probably walk away from it with no issues. But get it registered.
Good info, man, because I get the questions all the time from people that are, not well into drones. They just, it's a cool toy. They want to get some good footage, especially in the riding community that I'm in. And a lot of people are like preventing bringing their toys out now because they're worried about consequences. The other thing is, are they following the US rules? Like I see a lot on content creators that are using drones. The FAA are allowing anything under 250 grams, right? Does that apply over here?
There's a rule on that, but I'm not sure on the weight. But so the FPV stuff falls under that category, where it's it's lighter than, or smaller and lighter than what the others commercials are. I don't know the numbers, man, but it doesn't. You can't register it. Like, how do you register, especially FPV? How do you register? There's no serial number attached to it. You're building it.
It's all customized.
It's all customized. Yeah. So it falls under a category where it's not registered like a DJI drone would be. And I think is it the Mavic 3 now? I'm not up to date with these new small ones now, but I remember when the Spark was out, for example. The Spark was under a weight and a size that you didn't need to register it.
You didn't need to register.
You just get a hobby for it, but for commercial it's a size and a weight.
Right. Okay.
Size and a weight.
Right. So having said, like, now we've covered the drones, we'll come back to the whole payment thing.
Yeah.
Right. So now we're going to dive a little bit into the industry as we see it, as content creators, freelancers. How long did you say you've been freelancing in the UAE now? How long has that been?
Now I've been, do the maths quickly.
Roughly.
5 years.
5 years. Okay. So you'll have a good enough experience on how to deal with clients, what the industry landscape is like, what kind of resources that are available here. Let's start. And the reason I bring this up is because there are pages on Facebook all across the world, and particularly here in the UAE, where there are freelancers that can sign up or become a member or follow a specific page. Clients can then come along and advertise a certain project. Advertise a project that's of a certain budget. And I see a lot of attacks on some of these platforms now. A client comes in, and the first thing is, we don't have budget. And this causes up a huge battle of comments and opinions from specifically freelancers. You guys out there, who you are. I'm on that group as well. I don't particularly look at it too much anymore because it's just boring. But I do from time to time, or when I did used to look at it, there was clients will come on, or people that are looking for resources. They don't have budget. They have a small budget, and when they word that, it's a small budget. And then you've got freelancers who are advertising themselves, their portfolio, obviously the norm,
and then their prices. It's like, why would you advertise your price? That's
why not?
Rule 1, don't do that.
Why not? Tell me, because I'm in the middle between, like, whether you do. I don't like to, because first of all, you've got to, if someone's interested in what they see, they're going to inquire. That gives you the chance to then sort of. But why wouldn't you advertise your price?
All right. So the way I work and the way I see it is, and over time of my experience, and this is, it works for me, is if you know your craft, know what you want to get yourself into. By knowing that, you've either seen or with a company or whatever it may be, more or less where the fee could be. Where does that cost go? Where it could be. And if that works for you, and it pays the bills, then go for it. If you can think within that craft that you can somewhat put something in there that makes it better, grows it, makes it stronger, more value, and you then go for it, try it. And if it works, you've got that down on your portfolio. This is the work. All right, cool. People like that. People are more interested in it. They like the service. They like the style. They start contacting you about it. Then cool. Then okay. Now if you're getting a name or you're getting an interest, and people like your style because it could be unique, well, man, put a price on it, because it's your work at the end of the day. You've built it, you've created that. That's your efforts in making that work. So I'd say with what people are calling an industry rate or standard, whether it's filming and editing and all these things, take it as a very light guideline of what it is and what maybe the community is doing, what the industry is doing. But you're this one person that's creating a style, right? You're the artist. You're the one that is trying to outshine that client to the rest of the world or their competitors online. So
let's say you've done that. Let's say you know your craft. Let's say you've started creating a bit of a style that's unique to you, that allows you to add more value to your product, your service, and allows you to ask and negotiate for something above what's considered standard. I don't like to use that word anyway, because there shouldn't never be anything that's standard, especially in content creation. It's so varied. But what would you put yourself, I mean, I'm not going to ask you what your rates are here, but let's say, for example, someone is asking you straight up, what's your fee? They don't care. They're not interested in what they see. They just see it. They see you as a content creator as everybody else. He's a content creator. This one's they go onto the platform. I'm not going to name the
no worries.
Facebook
they want to
page.
know a price,
but they're just like, well, what's your fee? And then you'd be like, such and such. Well, he's charging this. Why can't you charge what he's charging?
So the first thing you need to be smart about is when a discussion like that comes into play, where there's an outsider saying, hey, what's your rate, and then we haven't said your rate, or they might even jump because this is the rate of here or whatever. The first thing you need to really understand is understand the client. Ask them the questions. And the minute that's getting asked, you don't have to give them a rate because, that wouldn't be smart, would it? Because you don't know what you've just dived yourself into. You don't know the work scope of what they're looking for. You can ask those questions. Well, what is the work scope? Because more or less in your head, you have an idea on a basic what you would charge for X, Y, Z. But are you taking on a job where you just need to film and get something done so you can get some pay to get you through the next month? Because if that's the case, then fine. That's on you with what you're comfortable with making. However, from my side, I don't jump into that. I don't want to be this person like, okay, I need to make this. Okay, here's a job opportunity. Let's just try and meet his needs and then get this going. If you're going to think like that, I don't think it's really going to help you push forward. You need to tell yourself, by listening to the client, what their needs are, hearing it and say, okay, cool, I'm feeling this, all right? Okay, so you ask them questions, okay, how many days, or are we shooting in an office, or is there sound, or do we need a second cameraman? You're trying to build it. You're trying to figure out where this goes and what the look is, because that's going to help you understand more or less where this could go. You're understanding what the client is looking for, and then you can say, okay, well, I'm feeling this. All right, here's a rough idea to where it could be. But I wouldn't jump in the moment of when they ask, what's the cost? You can give them a ballpark figure of ranging it. So I'm just going to bring up a number. You can say, this maybe will be 5,000 starting, but we are not even close to the finer nitty-gritties of what it needs to be, for example, right? And
just for anyone around the world, we're talking in UAE dirhams.
Dirhams, yeah.
So 5,000 is close to...
What's it like? What are we comparing it to? Dollars?
Like 1,300?
I think so, I'd say around
something around that.
What's the conversion? So 5 grand. 1,361, yeah.
1,361, yeah. Thereabouts, yeah.
And that's just a number, right? Again, how complex is the work? And is it the type of work you always are doing, or is it something that you don't touch on all the time? Because, I don't stress about trying to always get work in, because if you need to look at the bigger picture of where it's at. You want to just keep being the robot and just dialing in stuff what everyone needs. Because if you're going to do that, you're going to be sucked into that system all the time. You're just going to be doing so much more harder work, just trying to meet ends meet on videos and clients' work. And then you could get yourself into a rabbit hole where the client changes their mind and that's also where contracts come in. Or do you really try to diversify and get great value in what the project could be, because you're not thinking short term, you're thinking long term. That's the best thing. The most important thing is just having a great relationship with a client to further the work later. If it's something that you can already see within the moment of it before it's starting, this could work out, I can see potential here, we could definitely improve on certain things through the months, this is why you need me. And then again,
you've got to have the confidence.
You've got to have the confidence, and you
explain that. Let's play an experiment.
Yeah,
let's do an experiment.
Okay.
I'm a client. I'm a client.
Yeah.
I'm a potential client.
Yeah.
I advertise myself on one of these Facebook pages, and you're watching it. So anyway, I have a project.
Yeah.
Let's start off with the first one. I don't have any budget.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for a videographer and someone who can also edit. And I've got lots of work for you in the future. If you do good on this one, then I'll put you on lots of projects in the future. How would you respond to that?
How would I respond to that? Well, firstly, am I desperate? Am I desperate?
Are you desperate?
I don't know, because for me right now, I wouldn't be desperate, and I would know my work. I'm going to put it in this perspective. I wouldn't be desperate, so I wouldn't even answer that advertising, if you will.
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah, because it's I already know. I mean, I could drop a line and say, look, here's my details, here's my work. If you like what you see and you're interested, I know you don't have budget. We're obviously not going to work with no budget, but if you like what you see and it all works right, we can have this discussion. We can see where it goes and see what you're looking at. And if you can't find anyone else within this group that you've advertised it for, and you want my angle, then let's go for it. Let's have that conversation.
That's a good one. I like that particularly because you never know what the discussion is going to be then after, because they might also be testing the water. And I found
100%.
I've got no budget, but they actually do. They're just trying to see what strings they can pull.
Exactly.
And then when you show them, look, this is me, I've got my portfolio, this probably isn't going to be a good fit for us, but check me out.
Yeah.
And I've had times, and I'm sure you have, where they've come back and be like, oh, we have budget now.
Yeah, that and not even just that on budget, but you've still created the conversation. You've created a relationship, a contact, if you will, and by you advertising your work or presenting your work, saying, here's my portfolio, check it out, and assuming that you've got some great work on file, that in moments like these, because that is why you have them, say, here you go, check it out. If you like this, cool, here you go, we can carry this on. Not right now, no problem. Still have that conversation. If you want to ever chat back on some questions, let's have a conversation. But be very fine with it. I mean, I always try and understand who it is that I'm speaking with, what is their background, within the moment, if you can. Try and dive as deep as you possibly can before you let your worms out of your can get out. Because, people fish. They want to fish, they want to see things. If you're going to give out your information on rates and all that stuff, you're giving them great information, great data. What is your value out of that? They've sucked you dry.
That's a good point.
So be smart about that conversation. Keep them interested. That's, I think, is the best way to keep it going. Yeah.
Now let's say with this experiment, I am another client and I come to you. I've seen your work already. I've seen a bunch of other people's work. I still post on this platform and you're looking on there. I always keep referring back to this platform because that for me is a reference to see what's happening within the freelance industry here in media, especially in the UAE. There is a lot of people that are not on there also, like you and I spend less time on there, like we spoke about before recording this podcast, and we both said we sort of take a backseat on it because it's either boring, the stuff that goes on there is like not within what we like to offer.
For sure, 100%.
But let's say now I've got a budget, I've got X, Y, Z, and it's not still within your reach, it's not worth your time. What do you then do?
I would know the scope of the work that they're advertising, right? Okay, so if they're advertising something there and you're knowing the scope of the work, or it's in your field of what you like to do, or something that you would like to maybe tap into more of, adding to the other stuff that you're doing. If it's in one of those two areas, then use it, and you got nothing else going on, then use it as an opportunity to to have that conversation, see where it's going. Like I said, don't say too much. You want to understand what the client wants. That is your main goal. So you have your portfolio, you can show it, you can see it, and if you see that works for, again, if it's something that you want to tap into or do more of, and this is the opportunity, and you can kind of see that the budget's not as high as it should be, but you're using it as a moment of opportunity. Right, we can get this job. Like to say, you got the job, didn't pay us so well, but it was for you to express. You had an open canvas. That's how I'd like to put it, because if I find an opportunity like that where it might not be a lot of pay, but I was able to establish that it wasn't a lot of pay, however, I was open to the freedom of my creativity and create, that's an open door right there. You definitely want to be on that. Man, those are like your golden ticket moments, because you get to have full freedom. And obviously make sure that you're very clear on that before you start it, because that is going to be the bread and butter, because you get to be fully expressed in what you want to do and show it, and the client agreed to it because, you know, you agreed to their price. And I think that's a win-win. That must be a win, because at the end of the day, if you've got a portfolio and you've done great work and you believe in yourself and you like what you're doing, you should not be doubting yourself. You've got the work there. Sure. And if the client, this is another thing, and this will be on that group, you don't have to worry about clients maybe saying, oh, it's out of our reach, or the work and that. At the end of the day, if you like your work and you know you're progressing and you've got work before anyway, that's you right there, man. Don't let anyone take that away from you. If the client is not willing to meet your standards, it was never meant to be in the first place. Go find another fish in the sea. There's plenty of work around you. There is plenty of work around it. Don't beat yourself up about, damn, I lost another one. It's not meant to be. There's going to be something else that's going to happen for you, and take that role in the next one. This is part of that failure process, if you will, because if you're always going to get your stuff every single time and you've never hit a moment where you've kind of been backed off, you think you're really going to get somewhere? I think you need to have, with anything, you're always going to need to have a struggle and try and fight for something else that's bigger. Like I could say, I've always come second, and I'm tired of coming second. I want to come first now. I'm coming second though. Like there's something there, and there's different areas that I've been in. I'm hitting second. Some places I'm hitting second on things like, wow, I jumped the lead on all those things. That's great. Okay, I'm not first yet, but I'm getting somewhere. Like I'm definitely there. So
it's interesting, because you're essentially laying the path that there's something for everyone. Which brings me on to the next thing, is there is a standard, I guess, that clients do like to always refer to, whatever that standard might be.
Yes.
But there is also a variation in fees and prices that creators, filmmakers, photographers, editors, animators, etc., in this industry like to charge.
Yes.
Now, you've got animator or filmmaker or editor 1. And then you've got editor 2 and editor 3. They all charge their own rate.
Yes.
One is extremely, extremely undercharged, or let's say cheap. Let's use the word cheap. Clients love that lesser pay. You know, there are certain people out there that prefer to pay. Exactly.
No, carry on. I got a good answer, I hope.
Putting the hook out there, the worm's out there. I'm baiting you in. So basically, let me cut to the chase. Are people undercutting the market and destroying the market for the rest of us?
The clients, you're saying?
For the paying client. You know, you and I want to get paid. We want to get paid what we want to get paid, whatever that might be. Same with anyone else that's listening that can relate to us. But then what I see a lot on these platforms is a client comes in with an inquiry. Then you've got, you know, Joe Blogs comes in and says, I'll charge you 800 dirhams full day. Filmmaker. My own equipment, which is pretty good equipment, I must say. I don't know how these guys are doing it. Their own equipment. I don't know how they're living, what their living expenses are. They come in 800 dirhams. For me, that's undercutting.
Big time.
Client gets used to that, or sees that as a standard or a benchmark. Then what?
This is where it comes down. Let me get close to the mic on this one. This is where it comes down. I should have started the podcast with this, eh?
No,
it's all good. This is where it comes down, and I'm strong on this one, is how you sell yourself and how you sell the knowledge to the client, how you educate the client. Education to the clients, yes. Because...
You're finding yourself having to do that a lot?
Because, with a very a light way of approaching it, and not getting, you can't get upset about it or anything like that. But what I'm trying to say is let's be honest, you get people in roles and big jobs in companies that either somehow managed to get themselves in that position, good for them, or not really doing their job too well. This is how I've seen things, or not really so committed and indulged in the company that they're working for. They're just there for a job. They're just there for a salary,
paycheck,
and on their way out, and on to the next thing, just kind of riding that wave. I think we can agree there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. So to the ones that are somewhat in that position, you need to try and again understand your client, and you need to kind of figure out, you need to have that one-to-one conversation. So again, coming from someone reaching out online, oh, we got this and that. Okay, go break the conversation. Here's my number. Let's have that call. I always think it's best to just be one-to-one, because on a message and everything, it's not really going to happen. On a phone call, not really going to happen. You break in conversation, that's cool. You've bridged it. But just sit down and just kind of say, hey, so I've seen your work. I saw your website. This is what your company does, this and that. You roughly mentioned this, or I thought about a couple of ideas, or these kind of things. And give away your ideas, a couple of incentives there that gets them interested. And then try and hear what they have to say of what they want, so that you can understand what the client's looking for and what they might have missed. Because you're coming back to that with feedback on something that's educational, where they could say, oh, but we really like this video and how they did it with this and did this and this, and I hope they show you that video.
But that's taking a brief. Let me throw a curveball in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've opened this channel of communication.
Yeah.
You're asking them bits and pieces so
Yes.
you can get some information.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll help towards you later negotiating what your price is going to be and for them to sign off on it.
Yes.
But I'm just going to turn around to you straight up and be like, well, I used someone the other week and he's way, way cheaper. You know what I mean? It's like,
Cool.
I'm now used to that price to pay. Why can't everyone else be like that?
So again, that comes down to the scope of work of what it is, whatever the job is. I mean, straight up for me, if someone had to say that and I can see that energy, then I'll be like, cool, that's not for me then, because I know my values of my work. I know what I can get. And I choose to rather have that patience and that establishment, that relationship with a client that is willing to see eye to eye. And I think it's easy to see. For someone that is rushed and wants to get this, and this, and they can't put the time in to really see something that, that's very valuable right there. Let's open that door a little bit further. If there's no time for that, that's no time for me.
You avoid them.
I avoid it because it's, if you know what you're doing in your craft and you enjoy what it is that you do and you've been doing it for some time, why run around for someone else that can't see what you see and is not willing to put the time in to understand it? Because at the end of the day, the client needs someone like us to really put their eye into what they require to visually look great, and that is an art. And you can't rush art. You need to put the time in that, and if they can't wait for something like that, that's not my problem. I don't work on rushed. I get it that there's things that need to be ironed out here and there, and that's where skills come in. Fair enough. We've all been there, and I'm always open to it. Now it's narrowed down to particular clients that I work with. That's standard. But from an outside point of view, I'm not in a rush for it. I've got work flowing for me. If you're in a space where you're trying to get something and you're trying to start it up, sure, you're running around with your head off. You're trying to, if you don't have an idea of what it is in terms of your video work or what direction it is, you're trying to grab whatever you can and try and figure it out and scope it. Sure, you can, but you got to really watch yourself when you do that on how much do you want to jump around, because we can all agree, as we've said on this, about the client wants it for cheaper, because he or she probably won a video on edit would look pretty decent, good for them, and we've all been there. But who's to say when they're busy they're going to be able to churn out like that all the time, because they've probably caught someone that had nothing else to do. They had the time to fully indulge themselves into that. But then if they're saying, oh, we're cheap, okay, well, we're busy. We've got other stuff going on. We don't.
So it's short-lived, you're saying?
Yeah, we don't need to. And that's on them if they want to get that. For me, it always comes down to, again, I'll rush as a client, I ask them questions, and you can see it when they answer the questions. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they want. There's been a situation where maybe someone got pulled out of that company, and then there's a new person enrolling over it, and they're trying to play catch up with whatever work has been lying at that company, and they're trying to fix it fast, and they want it now. And sure,
or what it could be as well is they have an idea of what film or video or content creation consists of, but they themselves lack the experience. They're not a content creator, so how could they possibly know or put a brief? Now, we're not talking about production companies here, because they obviously they know what they want, they know how to brief.
Different game, yeah.
But the end client, usually maybe a marketing director or someone else, however they've ended up in that position, they don't know the process. So they're probably like, okay, I've watched so many YouTube videos. They might have watched vlogs, they might have watched a full feature film that's on there, and they're like, I want that.
Yes.
But they associate the two, and they think, well, that costs the same as that. They don't know what's involved.
So that's where education comes in. That's when you try and understand your client beforehand to see the misread of what they've taken in. And then from there, they'll say, that's when, if you can understand that, then it's like, right, now let me educate you. This is what's going on. Don't give away too much, but something lightly on, well, that example you showed me, this is what they probably used and did. This is how long it took. This is how long the edit took. Break it down very lightly for them to understand. You see, I'm not trying to build you a big bull here, but I'm telling you that takes time. It looked easy, which is great. That means their video was great. But the value behind it required a lot more power than just maybe a one person, or there's a bit of thought process that went into it, and that costs money, man. At the end of the day, if you are wanting something to post online to better your business, make you stand out, it's an investment, right? For the client, it's an investment. So for the client to say, oh, we don't have budget or this and that, you can go and educate them saying, cool, you are looking to stand out. You want an investment? This is, if you want something good, you have your options. I'm maybe one of them, and it's up to you how you want to break down whatever price works for you. But most importantly, each one has their own content and how things look, and you can pick out which one it is. It's on you at the end of the day. How far are you willing to take your investment?
So you're saying you've got an obligation as a film producer, content creator, editor, videographer, drone pilot.
Yeah.
You've got an obligation to educate the client. Not because they need educating, but there's a series of questions that should be asked to understand more about the scope. And
I want to indulge myself into this idea or campaign. I want to fully feel it so that I can be expressive with what it is that they want, so that we know that we knock this thing out the park.
See, this is good. Now we're on to something, because there are videographers that are out there that are less into selling themselves. They have their fee, they got their price list, they got their portfolio, they send it out on the mass, and that's it.
Yes.
And so essentially everybody should in this field should be asking, this is my conclusion from what I'm getting from this conversation, should be asking these series of questions that then lead up to how many hours are involved, if I'm not just the videographer here, is there an extra element, we need some animation, what is it the client really wants? Then you make the decision, it's not for me, I can't handle all of that, I can do a small part of it, here's my price, and so on. So there are people out there that are charging whatever they're charging might be undercutting the market, but they also should be asking these series of questions to tick all those boxes, educate the client, understand the scope, be able to price long term, be able to price what it is they want to price. Are they in a position where they need the work? Can they make that decision that they're just going to sign off on this price? Or are they in a position where they can say no to the job, I'm going to go and look for something else that's more within my, what I want to get paid. Is it worth my time? So essentially, they're not ruining the market. There's a job for everyone. People should stop bitching on these platforms and stop saying, so-and-so they're undercutting the market, so on and so on. There is so much work out there for everyone. Say yes, say no, it's up to you. Move on. Have your price. It might be here, it might be here, low or high. It's fine.
For sure. I mean, when we've seen things being maybe advertised on these groups where you've seen some ridiculous pricing or this and that, and you're laughing like, okay, wow, that's what they're at. But I mean, I'm not amused with it anymore, because I'm just thinking, all right, man, is what it is. I don't need to see that. I don't need that information in my head. You're rocking your own thing. But if someone's willing to pay a certain amount and they like that work, and someone's willing to offer that, then hey, let it be. Go for it. Everyone, I guess, is on their own little path. They're trying to shape themselves, to grow themselves. Everyone starts at a certain point with what they would want to make and take it from there. And hey, go for it. But again, if you know your work and you know what you're after, and you know, like for myself, I want to fully indulge into whatever the project may be. I want to know everything about it so that I'm really comfortable, so I can be super comfortable before I start it. And then while we're doing it, it's like I'm going for a skateboard, I'm going for a ride on a bicycle, I'm going to go have a good time with some friends. You know, we are fully having a great vibe while working, because man, what an experience that is when you hit in those times.
Yeah,
it's such a vibe. The client is cool, we're all rocking it because we put a plan together. This is what I enjoy. I really, really like this because it makes the work fulfilling. Your life is much better. And sure, you can, before all of this, there's a time where you can be critical and you need to run around and get all these things because you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to learn what you want, what clients you like, or what kind of work you want to do. I get it. But try and lead yourself up to not be in that place for too long, because you are just trying to understand what the industry is all about, right? Again, for work, you know, I've always been a person now to question what it is we're doing, how we're doing it, what's the relationship I have with the clients, and what relationship I have with a new client, all these kind of things. Because if you can figure out all those things through before starting it, this will totally make the environment way better than, oh man, I just got to do this job quickly and I'm not really getting paid a lot of money. No, I hate myself for doing this. Like, learn from it. Don't put yourself in that position again. Go figure it out. If you've made mistakes in whatever this project is, write it down and say, I don't like these things. I didn't like doing this. Okay, remember that, so that when the next one comes in, go look at your list and say, what is it I didn't like? What did I learn from the last one? And craft it, man. It's so easy. Just craft it.
Yeah.
I just don't look at, I'm not worried about rates. If anyone comes up to me about like, oh, that's a bit much and this and that, open for discussion, provided we know what the scope of work is, because I'd like to say I see value in this for later. I'm not here for like a one-time show. But if it's not really there, then it's not for me. And I'm open to that to a client. I'll be like, look, this is great. I'm too busy. And for this work, it's just not on my scope. However, you know, and then that's on you if you want to lead it to someone else or so on and so forth, to pass it on. And then there's that community, I guess, in one sense. And
using your brain to think about it a little bit extra, know what you want.
Yeah.
Know when to say yes or no.
Yeah.
And not hate yourself for taking the job.
And one thing I'd like to maybe just point out for anyone that's listening is, when you're in this game, right, photo, whatever it is, and you've got projects out that maybe requires another person to be on board to shoot with, you know, another buddy, and you got budget for it, whatever it may be, and you're open in that friend that you need help with, whether it's the first time they're doing a job with you, because you're obviously going to try and wing it, maybe, or for later down the road. For the ones that are getting hired by the person that is hiring them, you guys need to understand that you got hired by someone else, a mate, whatever it is, to assist with you on that project. Don't forget them in the future. When you leave that day, because you need to treat it, you know, to look up, you're not looking after the client, you're looking after your mate that hired you, because he's the one that got that job and he's put you on it and he's getting you paid. If you do well and so on and so forth and you work together, you'll get more of that. But if you get a project, don't forget your friend that hired you in the past. Remember that circle. Yeah. Keep your buddies in loop. Yeah. And it doesn't have, and I think it goes across the board. Anyone with whatever job it is that is starting up, small-time business owner, whatever it may be, remember that person, because obviously you're trying to lead them with potential work. For that person that is getting those leads and you knowing that it's coming through as friends, don't forget those friends, because it's a small world, and you know it can burn you. But most importantly, if you play it right, you play it smart, it will lead you to so much more work later down the line, and the community are going to know you. I'm saying this because I've learned this in the past. You just get people that just forget about it, and it just doesn't go in the right way, and it's just like, it doesn't make sense. Like, man, I've helped you. I didn't need to put my energy in it, but put the energy back into others, because it will come back to you. For sure, it will come back to you.
That's something I've always found a little bit tricky here, especially in the UAE, because there's a high turnover, especially in the positions. From the client side, you build up a database, some trusted clients that you're working with. They're no longer there in those positions. And it's hard to build a rapport and a relationship with their replacement unless they do a very decent thing, like a handover, for example.
Yes.
Depending on what your relationship is with the company, not just the individual. So it's hard. People come and go. You lose clients. You have to start all over again. But what you're also saying is take care of your buddy. Well, not your buddies. Take care of your colleagues. So, someone who got you on a job before. Have your own close little circle. If you're not available to do a project, pass it on to someone else. But on to that person that helped you out in the past. That kind of, which is a decent thing to do. I mean, for me, it should be common sense.
And for those ones that have been hired and so on, I'm saying again to that group, you guys must remember the ones that hired you for the work to be on their projects. Don't forget them, because when other stuff comes in line, maybe you need some help, have that conversation with the one that originally hired you. Like, just keep that mix, keep that little bit of extra money flowing on the sides. It's a good mix up, because it doesn't, I think in the past you have people come over and they see everything, and then, they're trying to do their own thing and maybe hire someone. I don't like that. You got to keep a circle, because that circle is what was valuable, and you have trust, and you never know where it goes later for another build. It's hard to find people around in this area where, because I get it, everyone here wants to, it's not cheap to survive here. You need to pay rent, you got to pay food, it's not cheap. So to find really good people here, it's a cycle. People are in and people are out. They're not here forever. So it's always hard to always have a great person to go to.
Dubai's a business club,
it's a big one, and people come and go. It's not like your neighbor that you known 20 years ago. It's rare here.
And full of opportunities. It is the land of opportunity.
It really is the land of opportunity. I don't think, you can probably find something anywhere around the world, but this place, in a nutshell, man, you can make it. You can so make
financially, it. Financially, and as a personal brand, or, as a filmmaker, the go-to person, something like as a brand. Definitely, there's a lot of opportunity for it.
I've been here where I've just bumped into so many stories, not just on film, just in general, people that have come here with nothing and have worked a little job in these places, this and that, and have now, over the time, been a manager, whatever it is, just totally flipped their world around, because they saw opportunity here, or there was opportunity, and they just took it. It's incredible how many of these stories are actually out here, and it's true. I'm an example of it, for one, from how I got here. And
I appreciate having you on the show to share exactly what you're referencing, because this is a live scenario of how well. I've seen your work. I'm going to praise your work here, because obviously you're proud and what's the word?
Motivated?
No, you're definitely motivated. Modest. That's the word I'm looking for. Modest. Sweet. So you're not going to blow your own whistle. So your work is outstanding. Your photography, your eye for creative is really nice, especially from what I like in the motor industry.
Nice, thanks.
For sure, like the pictures you're taking of cars and capturing the motor scene that's here, that's more like classic or supercars, superbikes, that kind of thing. It's hard to see those kind of things over here, because the mainstream sort of shows the glamour, doesn't show the underground.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of that, the urban stuff.
I can tell.
Yeah, a big fan of it. It's come into play with work here for video. A lot of the time, outsiders think, glitz and glamour, Dubai, rich, all that stuff, but there's also brands here that are local and supply to the every household and the community of what's here, and it doesn't have to be all glamorous. So there's a real opportunity there to make stuff interesting on the urban side, and I love that. I think it's cool.
You're showing a nice street culture for sure, especially in the auto industry.
I dig that. I could say I could for sure do far more than what I currently am, what I like to see. I'm just trying to balance it out with things that I enjoy doing. And I guess recently, with the things that I have been approached to, or exposed to, I'm kind of trying to figure out, where can I take that further? Who could I sell that to, if anything? And then also, because you get people that are full motorheads, that are on Instagram, they do cars all the time, And you know, I look at this stuff, I'm like, that's cool. I could do that. I could definitely do that. But I don't really want to be doing that all the time. I like to be I want to diversify. I like to have a change up on that scenery, or forget automotive. Let's try that. But like, I like these taps because, again, if you're open to all kinds of things, we have an eye and you're able to see things. You have far more knowledge of what's going down in those different communities versus just one. And also it keeps it interesting, right? Keeps it interesting.
You don't want to kill the interest by being repetitive.
Yeah, you'd kill the passion. You'd for sure kill the passion. I just, in one sense, I don't want to be known as, oh, you shoot cars. Like, I do shoot cars. I don't shoot it as much as I know a lot of other people I watch shoot cars. I like to definitely shoot motorcycles. I think that's cool. And also, touch on that subject is, you know, I did this page where it's my company, but before it was my company, I wanted to create an Instagram for motorcycles. And sure, there's so many pages now on Instagram that do motorcycle content.
Are we talking about Twist and Grip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said, well, okay, this is why I did this. So I said, right, I like to shoot motorcycles, and I can do it on my private page, sure, but I would probably flood it with bike stuff. So let's just put it on one side so it's just there on its own. And there's pages on Instagram that are motorcycle related, but it's like all Mickey Mouse stuff, whether it's like reels or cheesy videos or someone who saw their bike and somehow there's a massive interest in that. And that's cool, but I'm not there to do that. I just want to shoot bikes in its glory, and I want to shoot it pro to the best of what I can. And I say that because I want to show the work on the bikes, but most importantly, instead of being in the category of, oh, he shoots cars and he's great and so on and so forth, let's express it without being known to shoot cars, and let's just shoot it with bikes, so that people, when they see the bike stuff, yeah, that's really cool. Oh, it's just bikes. I'm expressing my stuff through bikes. Why? Because when I looked at the market and I see who else is doing that, no one's doing it that way. So I'd like to say that is the way that I'm expressing myself, and I'm standing out with my work because I have myself doing it and I can't see anyone else that's doing it. Sure, you get some others that are doing randoms, which is great. And that's where it's been. So that was my page. So I wanted a name. So then I thought Twist and Grip would be cool. That's bike related to me. And
that's the Instagram handle as well, right?
Yeah.
Twist and Grip.
Twist and Grip, yeah. It's with an N. Twist and Grip.
Twist and Grip.
Yeah. I mean, that was me thinking the throttle and then the tire gripping, like that whole action. And then I thought, you know, cool riding, cool stickers. And then to the community that we ride bikes with, you know, get some stickers out for people. That was it, you know. And there's a lot more to it. Again, a lot of things can happen in a case of a year to a couple months where you want to commit to that, but then there's other things that have pulled in.
It's
where
another way is expressing yourself as an artist, right?
For sure, no, big time. And just recently, we'll call it this year, I haven't been able to really push what I wanted to do, which I started only because, well, work has been interesting. A lot more time and value to myself for campaigns had to be put in. So I just haven't been out there. If anything, I haven't really been riding this year. I used to be riding a lot, whether it was off-road, on the road, on the track, like big time, big. And there will be times in the evenings I can go out, shoot, let's play with this concept. No time for that now. Trying to step into it a little bit more. Again, this whole conversation that we're talking about bikes, we spoke about something earlier about brands and the video idea. This is all why things are slowing down, because there's a bigger picture to this.
So we'll plan, ladies.
So we'll see where it goes. Yeah, I don't think
we need some insight. We need to see what this plan is.
I don't think it's going to be a big industry in terms of like for myself, like as a business, but it's just something that I believe in. I can work, can definitely be worked towards, and it's something that hasn't been tapped here yet. And I'm willing to put in the time to make that work because I believe in it and how I'm seeing it being done in, let's say, the States. They're doing it. And
you're really teasing me now.
Yeah, so
you're really like putting that carrot on the stick. What is it?
I just need the manager. You know, I'm not going to say names, but man, if you're listening to this, you know what we're talking about, and you need to pull that trigger. Share this
link with him. Share it with him. Entice, influence these people.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a no-brainer to not want to try and test the waters for this. And, you know, it would be to get this thing going as a portfolio would be good because, to other brands, it might work.
Watch this space, ladies and gents. You
Yeah.
piqued my curiosity, and I'm sure whatever it is, it could do really, really well. You never know.
You never
Unless
know.
You give it a go.
You know,
whatever it is.
exactly. And just again, a lot of times been in the thoughts of everything now. Now it's literally just putting it down on paper with a plan, a structure, somewhat of an order of things, so that we know that in the next 2 to 3 months, these are the things we'd like to knock out, so that there's that structure. And then as we're in this process of, let's say, beta of 3 months, we're going to figure out, we could actually do this, or we could add that into it. You're building it.
We are ending on a positive note here.
Yeah.
We're ending pretty much on a cliffhanger. Thanks, Vosloo. Stay tuned to see what this thing is that you keep teasing me with.
Yeah.
Check out his, now I'm just going to close this up. So just check out Vosloo's Instagram account for whatever it is he's talking about for his work.
Yeah, thanks.
It's incredible. If you are in the market for content creators, again, check Vosloo's work if you need to make a decision based on that. So if something in this podcast has triggered you or inspired you, let me know. Put your comments in the comment box below if you're watching this on video. If you're listening in on Spotify or something like that, come over to my YouTube channel, Carly Vlogs, or just Carl Edwards. You can search into YouTube. I'll put the links into wherever you're listening or watching this anyway, so you can track it. And let us know what your thoughts are. If you'd like to come on the show at some point, express your opinions, or just engage in conversation in the comments. I am posting a lot more motor vlogs on my other channel, What Adventures, and these are motor vlogs, something that I've been trying to inspire Vosloo to express his creativity on, consider it in the future.
Yeah.
And so if you want to see more motor vlogs in dirt bike riding in the desert, you must come on one of these trips.
I was about to say,
come on one.
yeah, let's do that actually. Let's shape Beata.
Let's what?
Let's shape the Beata bike.
Yes.
There's a lot to talk about. That. I saw your stories.
Yeah, there's a video.
I was wanting to type so much stuff, and I'm like, we're gonna have this conversation, but we'll keep it there because
I'll get one of the bikes.
Yeah.
We'll pick one. I'll send you selection. We'll get two.
I rode one recently.
Oh yeah.
I tested with Martin.
Okay.
Leave
that. No reviews right now.
Okay, cool. Fair enough.
Yeah, there's a vlog coming out.
You're gonna do it, yeah.
Exactly. And then we will as well, because I'd like to get variation of opinions.
Yeah.
They're nice bikes. Let's just keep it at that. But there are more motor vlogs coming out on my What Adventures channel, so go over there and check that out. Again, if you want to come on the show, let me know, because I want to, speak to a variation of people.
Yeah.
We have here spoken about the media industry, specifically in the UAE, as freelancers. I want to hear from you guys. I'm going to pretty much wrap it up there. Vosloo, thanks for coming on and sharing your world.
Yeah, I love it.
Pleasure.
That was good. No problem at all.
Come on again in the future. Let's go ride.
Definitely. We can ride and this anytime.
Good stuff, man. Well, there you have it. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'll catch you guys in the next podcast. And if I don't see you in the next video, or if I don't see you on the next ride, I'll certainly see you in the next video. Peace.